Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Email me directly for pricing, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. Today we're discussing a 218-piece limited edition from 2016 that has been called the coolest three-hand watch ever made, and I'm not exactly a rookie or a recent arrival to this industry. I've seen the watch many times and examined the competition. I actually agree. This might be the coolest three-hand watch ever. And it has a name. From a Lange Sohne, it is the Richard Lange pour le Merite, a constant force, time-only, 40.5 millimeter white gold watch that features a 10.7 millimeter thickness, a lug-to-lug dimension of 49.3 millimeters, and a space between the horns of 20 millimeters. This 218-piece limited edition wears well on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist. I am quite enamored of it. It's a full-sized dress watch. It's definitely not oversized, but we're a good way from the 33 to 36 millimeter 20th century men's dress watch size. So this is a watch that's very much of a modern aesthetic persuasion, even as the details themselves are retro and nostalgic. Taking a good look, you can see down the barrel, it's not quite at the edge of my wrist. It's low enough to fit underneath the cuff. With a domed bezel, it's relatively shallow, no problems there. And from overhead, you can see it's almost at the edge of my wrist, but not there, not quite. I can recommend this watch for a wrist as small as 14 centimeters in circumference. And the timepiece includes a robust strap in large rectangular scale alligator leather. It's got a little bit of bolstering to add some volume. It's a semi-gloss finish with a monotone stitch. You can see the edge here is folded rather than sheer cut. And underneath you can see black calfskin, and it is a brand new Lange Sohne factory strap. The buckle is always a fun piece with these. You can see externally it's polished and faceted. It also features this little retaining bar, so if you're like me, you have the small wrist, you can use the smallest hole or maybe even punch a smaller hole. Sometimes once you've strapped a watch down to the smallest hole, it gets pinned on the pin. It's hard to remove the watch when it's really tightly strapped onto a small wrist. Well, this little retaining bar prevents that from happening. There's also an elevated bridge over the prongs at the side so that the thick and substantial strap mostly sits inside the buckle rather than stacking up underneath it. I like that attention to detail. Classical Lange case, I've often called them pocket watch conversions, as they have the look of a 19th or early 20th century East German pocket watch, albeit with lugs added. And that's really part of the design ethic of Lange, always reference the past. Now, the watch includes a satin-finished mid-case, polished bezel, polished caseback, polished lugs, and you can see, as with most Lange watches, the lugs are stepped out, so they're not integrated into the caseband like a Calatrava or an F. Pigeon Octa or Souverain type watch. The crown features the Longo logo. All of this is white gold. The contrast between the satin and the polish helps to break up the mass of metal, though it's not a thick watch. The bezel has a vertical portion and then a domed portion, and it gives way to a dial that is black galvanized but actually made of precious metal. The dial base is made of sterling silver. It's then black galvanized, and you can see there are a few splashes of red at the quarters, and then the remainder is all white and radially arrayed Roman numerals. And you know it's a Richard Lange watch because after the scientist slash watchmaker Richard Lange, it is a Roman numeral dial. And of course, Richard Lange, one of the scions of F.A. Lange, the patron saint and founder of East German watchmaking, he gets his own named series. Arabic numerals are going to be the 1815, stick indices are the Saxonia, digital display is the Zeitwerk, Roman numerals Richard Lange. Now, the watch does include a hacking or stop seconds function, and it has lovely 18-karat white gold alpha-style hands that actually show quite well against the matte black base, and you can see that the sub-seconds as well as the center dial are slightly sunken to add another focal plane. Flip it all over, what a machine. Okay, this is the caliber L0441. It has hundreds of parts, 636 parts in the fusee chain alone. So let's start at the balance and work our way up. You can see the structures adjacent to the balance. First, the escape wheel, freehand engraved. The balance cock, freehand engraved. Freehand, that's without an engine, done with a burin, so no two are exactly alike. You can see that there's mirrored anglage on the edge of the bridge, but also on the edge of the three-quarter bridge. So the balance cock as well as the three-quarter bridge, you have that mirrored anglage on the edge. All of the bridges and plates are made of this golden-hued nickel copper zinc that's informally called German silver. It's a pocket watch era material that's highly anti-corrosive. There's engine turning adjacent to the balance itself as well as on the base plates. You get engine turning in 3 different sizes. That's what the Swiss would call perlage. Black polish, and you will see black polish used on the ratchet atop the barrel. You can see that there's black polish on the swan's neck as well as the cap for the escape wheel. The case clamp screws are also black polished. You have fired blue screws as well. These are the kiln-fired blued screws. And then we have satinated wheels, and we have glasuta stripes across a 3/4 bridge, which is another pocket watch echo. You can see that there are golden chaton that fix the pivot jewels. The jewels are set in the chaton are then screwed into the bridges, and this is yet another nod to the pocket watch era when it was difficult to directly set gems into bridges because of then primitive machining tolerances. The balance beats away at 21,600 vibrations per hour, and in a refinement uncommon on Longo watches, it features an overcoil hairspring made by hand. So in the 5 positions, chronometer style, in which this watch is regulated, the hairspring will develop evenly and breathe concentrically because its mass is centered by that overcoil. Of course, the watch does include a fusee and chain constant force device, and when you wind the chain, which is 20 centimeters long but only 1/4 of a millimeter wide, the chain winds from the barrel over to the fusee, and you can see there's a planetary inside the fusee that prevents a loss of torque to the escapement when you're winding the watch. The idea here is that for the 36-hour power reserve of the movement, as the barrel winds down and loses its force, it will be pulling a larger diameter of the fusee, just like a bicycle gear system. So when force winds down, mechanical advantage increases, force to the escapement remains constant, and that tiny little chain right there is so strong that it can vertically suspend, are you ready for this? 2 kilograms. So for those of us in the old colonies, that's well over 4 pounds. 30 meters water resistant, but that's a theory I'd rather you not test. This is the ultimate watch for standing high and dry with all of the complication hidden on its reverse side. A secret between you and your watch. Reach out to tmosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.